Welcome to the Creative Condition podcast with me, Ben Talon, illustrator and creativity coach, founder of the Creative Condition, artist and writer. I bring 20 years of creative industry experience and a lifelong love of creativity, a fundamental pillar of human happiness, to you through ongoing personal exploration and the shared experiences of others. You'll get a nourishing mix of creative industry professionals and people far and wide using creativity in ways that can take our learning to the next level so we can maximise our unique blend. The show has been supported from day one by Illustration X, a tremendous illustration agency representing a shining global roster of illustrators and animators over at illustrationx.com. The music for the show is by Dirty Freud, who you can listen to now on all good streaming services. And for everything else, for my coaching, resources and inspiration, head to thecreativecondition.com. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Ben Talon. I'm your host. This is the Creative Condition podcast, an extension of thecreativecondition.com, where you can check out the body of work. It's now 15 plus years of exploring the human condition and creativity, and that intersection right down the middle, because the two are inseparable, they're intertwined, they're symbiotic in their relationship, and I love that. So it's great to have you on board. I hope you're well. If you're new to the show, hello and thank you for checking in. I hope I find you well, creatively energized, and if not, then I can help you. Through the content I'm creating over at thecreativecondition.com, you can check out the reading list with over 40 recommended books for nourishing your understanding of creativity. There are countless articles through the diary, some of which I'm going to read today in this latest instalment. You can also contact me directly about the coaching and consultation. I have a deep 2 decades plus long understanding of creativity, fertilized by hundreds, over 300 conversations far and wide with doctors, with firefighters, with athletes, with rock stars, with neuroscientists, psychologists, you name it. I speak to the people doing it best in many different ways to develop and deepen my understanding, so that when I encounter your story, I can make points informed by things right across the spectrum of the human condition. That is what I'm setting out to do. So get in touch. I run a session called The Pit Stop, which is a one-to-one intensive audit of your foundational creativity. We work together over 3 to 4 hours, sometimes slightly less, sometimes slightly more, but we go through everything from your contentment, your frustrations, your hormones, your mischief, your dark humour. We get into your environment, your childhood. We go through everything. We leave no stone unturned. And what that gives me is a deep understanding of you. And then when I get a sense of where you want to go, where you might be better suited to, I go away and I write up notes of recommendation. This is an intensive body of writing developed so you can work back through it. You can digest it over as long as you need, and there are tangible action points and exercises to get you realigned with your pure magic for your creativity. It might mean that you've got to change jobs. It might mean that you've got to do a complete about face from the direction you thought you were heading with your creativity. Or it might mean you are on the right path and we just need to fine-tune a few little things to really optimize where you are. It's different for every single person. That is why I love it, because I like working with the individual. If you're a long-term listener of the show, you will be well aware of that. I love this. I am a total empath. I love helping people. That's part of the reason I wanted to do this. I wanted to teach, but I didn't want to be beholden to university curriculums. Wanted to bring an aspect of therapy, but I'm not qualified as a therapist. Don't have the money and time to become so. But what I do bring is my love of people, and I am able to help people on that level through listening, deep listening. Anyway, today's installment of the Creativity Diary through thecreativecondition.com/the diary, if you want to read them in their written form, which I do recommend. But also, you can listen to them, as I'm going to read them out to you right now. Big thank you to the founding sponsor of the show, illustrationx.com, for being here since day one, 10 years ago. Awesome illustration agency representing some of the globe's greatest animators, illustrators, live artists, lettering specialists, fashion illustrators, you name it, they've got it for your visual communication needs, and they do so much good work for the creative industry. If you're in that like I am. So here, let's get to it. 8th of July 2025, a cool day in the heat. I can almost hear the laughter of my friends from hotter countries as I flail around, a jaded, anxious, directionless mess in 30 UK degrees. But it's what you're used to. And this old nation of ours isn't built to cope with this. I don't sleep properly, which any good psychologist will tell you is fundamental to solid mental health. Then my thoughts run all over the place. I can't prioritise, so all but the most urgent, time-sensitive tasks are scattered like a burst bag of marbles. Then guilt. Then fear of professional implosion. Then absolutely anything that might be troubling. Over the weekend, during a cooler day, and after a better sleep, I find a moment to nap while the kids are playing their own game nearby. Even as I'm wrung out across the sofa like a face cloth, drifting as Wimbledon Tennis Championships waits for the rain to pass, as the commentators drone on about all the beautiful surrounding secondary detail, my heart speeds up. Not because anything is a threat, but because I find a bizarre thrill in how perfect this scenario is. A Saturday afternoon nap during paused play at Wimbledon. Eventually I chuckle, calm down again, and manage 15 minutes. The heat will return, and all I can do is brace. 11th of July 2025. Maybe I was onto something. Here's something. I was late to parenting. This means that on a bad day, I stagger around on my dog walk with 3 eye bags under each eye, staring into space. In all honesty, had I had them younger, I imagine it would only have been marginally better, and maybe worse, because I'd have far less understanding of myself and life in general. But one colossal upside is my time spent observing the human condition through all of this work. It means that, while, like every parent, I get things wrong and learn as I go, I am able to apply those learnings to the way I raise these 2 small creatures. One big lesson I took from my parents, and have seen amplified in many of the people who have found their element in their work and broader life, is that for a person to find their way, they need the right balance of encouragement, mentorship, and freedom to find out. My daughter has barely stopped moving since she was born. She expresses her delight with a jump, a kick of her legs, or a spontaneous dance move. I recall watching her watching Bing, the kids' TV show, her entire body in the air, held up by her arms, gripping onto the chair arms, legs crossing left and right. So, gymnastics on Monday mornings. In the pool and on that climbing frame, she is utterly fearless. Physical dynamism is a preset. And now, it's street dance on a Saturday morning. My son isn't far behind with the climbing ability, but his brain adores mechanisms, systems, puzzles. He began prodding at my wife's piano, so she showed him a very basic tune. He sat there until he'd cracked it and kept coming back. So, piano lessons. There's privilege here, don't get me wrong. The massive majority of my little leisure money goes on their interests now. But consider this, the gentle nudge. There'll never be pressure. That doesn't work. I don't care if either of them are flagged as some unprecedented level of prodigy. If they're not enjoying it, it ends. Of course, encouragement to work through and persevere is a very different thing, and that time will come. But at 5 years old, it's our job to merely enable and observe. It felt unreal as I watched my daughter keep step for step with her instructor. My son finishing his tea, ambling over to the piano and spending the next 40 minutes without suggestion or obligation, cracking chords, trying, snarling, trying again, smirking as he got it right. Felt on a par with any great career or life highlight thus far. This was both personal exhilaration, because my hopes that I was onto something with this strategy was, at least for a moment, accurate, but also professionally, because I subtly use this approach with my coaching, in the advice I routinely share with other people who are looking for something better aligned with who they are. It's why I don't show up with templates, only a universe of creativity's makeup. This is why talking about chores, mischief, mistakes, dark humour, what books they're reading, what feels insurmountable, and so much more matters. It's also why so many people feel stupid, frustrated, angry, and disillusioned with an education system in dire need of an overhaul as we move into a world where revolutions are going to happen quicker than election cycles. 14th of July 2025, The Dark Reflection. I'm working on a writing project. Last week I spent time interviewing the subject I'm writing about, and this person took me right back to childhood. I do this on the podcast because you start to see patterns, threads running between the person I sit with today and the reasons why not, and small brushstrokes around the edges. Anyway, this person recounted sneaking into an idyllic building up in some hills and finding some old, original books from a bygone era, spending hours upon hours alone studying them, reading every faded, aged page, soaking up the knowledge. As he did this, I had to police my inner child who shrieked with juvenile laughter. What had occurred to me was my own version of this. My subject and I are very close in age, and while my imagined version of these secret reading sessions is probably wildly exaggerated in its sheer splendour, it still set the stage for my mucky underbelly equivalent. In my first published short story, Soft Play, in It's OK Zine issue 1, I recalled how my gang of friends and I spent a large portion of our childhoods on a defunct, decaying wool mill, around which the last people to walk its yawning corridors, 2 security guards, would give us a tour around. On these tours, some of us would quietly splinter off and roam the nooks and doorways to see what we could see. One time, we discovered a Morrison's supermarket carrier bag full of porn magazines, and would then return to it for as long as we could during these tours. It was grim, dried out, dog-eared, and so pre-internet, and when juxtaposed with my writing subject's more romantic experience, a great illustration of the contrast between people's roots, how the culture and economy of the day is the context we do not choose but must navigate. Does this ever change? I don't think so. Creativity is always subject to context, and I try not to overthink what this has enabled or thwarted in my own experience of it. So there you have it, guys. A batch of new instalments of the Creative Condition diary that you can read over at thecreativecondition.com/the diary, or listen to right here on the Creative Condition podcast. Come and join me in this body of work as it continues to expand beyond the 10 years I've been doing it through the podcast, and much longer in terms of my observations and studies of creativity. I bring to you over 300 conversations worth of learning, countless books, studies, written articles, 2 of my own written books, Champagne and Wax Crayons, Riding the Madness of the Creative Industries, and the Creative Condition book, both of which you can grab on the site, thecreativecondition.com, or over on my author website, bentallenwriter.com. If you want to come and work with me on any of those, I've just released a new video on LinkedIn. I've pinned it to the top of my profile, and it gives you a 4-minute rundown of all the things that I do, why I have this range in my work, and how you can engage with Ben Tallen, the artist human who lives at the core of all of it. If you want to come and work with me on the coaching front, I have pit stop sessions open in the coming months. It's very affordable for freelancers when you look at the value that you get, a complete repositioning within your career, realignment with your magic. We work 1-to-1 for about 4 hours, maybe just under, depending. And then I go away and I write it up and I send you written recommendations that will help you to get back on your optimum path, because so many of us end up jaded and in the wrong jobs, or even just, missing some really obvious foundational aspects of our lived experience, our personality, what we could be doing to really bring us more fulfillment and joy. So there you have it. Big thank you to the founding sponsor of the show, Illustration X, who have been here since day one of this podcast 10 years ago in 2015. If you're new to the show, thank you for checking it out. I would love your thoughts. I'm always happy to hear from listeners old and new over at ben@bentalent.com on the email is the best way to get me. You can DM me on LinkedIn. I will reply to you there too. It might just take a little longer. Thank you so much, guys, for checking out the show. Please tell a friend if you get a moment. It is what helps me to grow the show. Been a big uptick in numbers recently, which is very exciting. You can also rate, review, or subscribe to the show. Share it on your socials if you want. I'm always sharing clips out there on... I'm doing the Instagram stories, even though I'm not engaging with Instagram as a grid now, because I don't like the way they're doing things and the whole AI feeding aspect of it all. That said, I'm probably being very naive, Anna, but I'm sharing only a few audio clips on the stories these days. The main place, like I said, is LinkedIn. You can also come and join the newsletter through the website, thecreativecondition.com. Have a great week, guys. Thank you once again. Take care. Speak soon on the next guest episode with PJ Richardson.